Hello friends, welcome to yet another session on essay perspectives. The topic for today is those who were dancing were seen as insane by those who could not hear music. Friends, as always, I have a personal request. Third edition of my book Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude has unfortunately been pirated. Pirated copies are of very low paper and print quality. I urge all the aspirants to buy original copies. Original copies can be bought by scanning the QR code here or by clicking the link here. Thank you. Every essay topic has to be conceptualized as being made of various components and subcomponents. So this essay has been broken into these components. First, we would introduce the topic, then we would dwell upon the essence of the topic, then we would try to answer the question, why would one not hear music? Then we would try to answer another question, why would one see the other dancing as insane? Then how to spot not so obvious, so to put it in other words, so how to learn to hear the music which is feeble or which is not so obvious. Then how to understand the other's action. Then we would conclude. Friends, as soon as I saw this topic, I was reminded of none other than the Padman, Mr. Arunachalam Muruganathan. I am sure most of you would have watched the movie Padman, in which Akshay Kumar has portrayed the character of Arunachalam Muruganathan. So this Padman once saw his wife hid some dirty clothes. Then he realized that women needed sanitary pads during their menstrual cycle. Yet, since the prices of the sanitary pads were too high, they were not affordable to many of them. They were forced to use unhygienic, unclean clothes in the place of sanitary pads. So this he realized that could compromise the menstrual health of any women for that matter. So he considered it to be one of the major problems. So he wanted to come up with a solution. So he wanted to create a sanitary pad that would reduce, that would be affordable to women of underprivileged sections. So he tried his best. He came up with, but his road to this invention was fraught with many difficulties, many challenges. So by hook and crook, by his sheer hard work and all, finally he could create one sanitary pad. A few prototypes of sanitary pads that were affordable, yet no one came forward, no one volunteered to use those sanitary pads and give him the feedback. So that actually prompted him to wear sanitary pad himself, and also to put some animal blood and try to check if that sanitary pad worked or not. But later, see, all his actions, all his craze, all his dedication to came up with an affordable sanitary pad was mocked at by the society. Everybody thought he had gone mad. So finally the village boycotted him. So much so that even his wife, for whom he struggled so hard, also deserted him and left. It was only after his sanitary pad became successful and he was recognized to be one of the grassroots invention by the none other than the President of India, then everybody realized. Correct? So this is the best example. So he was doing some action. He was dancing. Correct? He was dancing, but everybody who was seeing him dancing thought him insane. They thought he was mad. They thought he was not doing the right thing. He was not thinking the right way. Why? Because they did not hear the music. Music is the cause, or music is the trigger. Correct? So they did not realize the motivation. They did not realize the reason why Arunachalam Muruganathan was so much hell-bent on coming up with an affordable sanitary pad. So people could not understand the need for sanitary pad. People could not understand the relationship between clean sanitary pad and menstrual health. So finally that was the music. So people could not hear the music. Only Arunachalam Muruganathan heard that music, so he started dancing. But these people, without hearing that music, saw him dancing, and concluded him to be insane. I think this is the best way in which we can introduce this essay, friends. After introducing the essay, it is time for us to understand the essence of the essay statement. So, this essay statement contains many key phrases. The first one is those who dance. That means people, correct? People who are in action, correct? So, that is dance. That is people who dance. Then insane. What do you mean by insane? Insane is a person who is considered to be thinking irrationally, who is considered to be thinking not in the right way, correct? So that person is insane. So to put it, so he is kind of mad. He is thinking, his thought process does not align with the regular normal thought process of the society. And those who could not hear music, so the person who is in action is the person who dancing, and those who could not hear music are the persons who are audience, who are spectators. And they could not hear music. So here music represents a trigger. Music may represent the cause. Music may also represent the motivation for a person to dance. Okay. So thus those who could not hear the music, the spectators who evaluate the actions of doer are doing it without realizing the need for the dancing, trigger for the dancing, or motivation for the dancing, or the seriousness of the problem, or the opportunity that pushed that person to dance. Correct? Thus, to bring the meaning of all these phrases together, we can safely conclude that when people do not know the reason behind your action, when people do not know the motivation behind your action, then they will not understand your reaction to that action, if I may say so. So, see, music is the reason, your dance is the reaction to that music, correct? So, when people don't know the reason for your action, then they will not understand your reaction to that cause. Okay, so that's how you can bring the meaning together. So then why is that so? So basically, this figures of speech aside, if you try to understand what is the reason, see, you are not able to understand the cause or reason for someone's action. But that person is able to understand and grasp that cause or reason which you are not able to do. That means the object is same, two persons are perceiving that object in a different fashion. One person perceives it in a particular way and the other person might not even recognize its existence. So thus there is a perceptual error. A person who perceives it in the right spirit would take you out of it and would immediately start acting. A person who lacks the knack to identify the existence of a particular object would just ignore it, would not even appreciate its existence. So that is the difference. So thus there is the heart of this problem is perceptual error, perception error. So you are not able to perceive things as they are, but you are perceiving things in a negative, in a different way. Second thing is empathy. See, you may have perceived it, you may or may not have perceived an object in the way it should have been perceived. That aside, what stops you from being respectful to a person? What stops you from at least appreciating the fact that every person has his or own ways of living, rules of living in life. So what stops you from allowing, from understanding that boundary and allowing them to live the way they wish? Correct. So one part you are not pursuing it correctly. The second part, you are not having the empathy to understand the other person, and you are simply calling him insane. So basically the crux of this essay statement is that this lack of perceptual error is translating into a lack of empathy to a particular person. Okay, so hope it made sense. After understanding the essence of the topic, now it is time for us to go a little deeper. Now the next point of discussion would be, why would one not hear the music? That means there is a music, there is a cause, there is a motivation, there is, but it is not being heard by a particular person. So why one person is pursuing it while the other person is not even recognizing its existence? The first thing is subjectivity. See, there is a famous saying in English, we see the things not as they are but what we are. So it is just like that. A plastic surgeon would be able to identify, spot the nose or something with plastic surgery, artificial nose or whatever, but a normal man would not be able to do that. So basically it is subjectivity. So we don't know, every person analyzes, assesses, pursues the things the way in their own way. So that subjectivity is the first reason why certain people will identify something, pursue something, certain other people would not even recognize its existence. Next comes limited exposure. See, that means a person who has a wide exposure to many things would be able to pick cues very, very smartly. So people with very limited exposure would not be able to pick cues. See, suppose, let us say a businessman has traveled from city A to city B. Then he would realize that the prices of a particular commodity is very high there. So then he realized, others, see, there would be travelers to that city B from city A. Everybody would go, even if the price is high, they would not think, they would pay higher price and take the service or good and come back. But only a businessman who goes there would think, why the price is high? Is this because of monopoly there? Is this because of lack of supply there? Then he would think that there is a business opportunity. Why should I not supply the same item at a little cheaper price so that I would get more business? So thus he would have the knack to catch that business. So that is possible only with your exposure. So a person who doesn't have that exposure would not be able to do that. So that the limited exposure is another reason why one would not be able to hear the music. Third one is lack of inquisitive mindset. See, so many times we see the cues, we find out the cues in the surroundings, but we don't have inquisitive mindset. Inquisitive mindset is curiosity. So you come across something, you don't just see it. You would go a step ahead and you would try to understand the reason behind it, potential associated with it, etc., etc. If that inquisitive mindset exists, then you would go a step ahead and you would explore something. If that inquisitive mindset does not exist, you would not care to do it. So you would not see the music. So the person with inquisitive mindset would hear the music and would start dancing. The other person who has no inquisitive mindset would keep quiet and just think the other person is insane. And the third thing is next thing is shallow conclusions. Shallow conclusion means you don't dig deeper. Whatever strikes your mind, whatever feeling you get at the first encounter, would you consider it to be the true, and you would stop, you would conclude based on that. You would not go deeper. So such shallow conclusions also would not let you hear the music. I think the best example is our civil service aspirants itself. So many civil service aspirants would just take a particular optional because everyone else is taking that optional, or they would just take a particular optional because coaching is available, or they would take a particular optional just because somebody whom they consulted advised them to take that optional. That is a shallow conclusion. So But a serious aspirant would just take out the syllabus, would just read some cursory reading of the subject and would try to understand if he is able to manage that optional well or not. Whether that optional and whether his or her skill sets match or not. So only when he or she would do all these things and take a deeper view, then they would not realize. So if you take a shallow conclusion, you would not hear the music at all. Okay, so I mean, let us say there is one person who has taken English literature as his optional, because he perhaps knows that English literature is more rewarding. Rather than appreciating him, many people would just think that English literature would not do well in UPSC, so he has taken. So they fail to see the music. He has heard the music and he is dancing. So without hearing that music, you are just considering him to be insane. Next, not listening to others. That means not valuing someone else's opinion. See, while conversing and all, so many times people will give you a lot of ideas, but you would rather than accepting those ideas, or rather than being open-minded, you would just ward those ideas off. You would say, no, it doesn't work, etc. So you don't pay attention to what everybody says. You consider yourself to be right. Then last thing is no reading. See, identifying the cues in the environment, in the surroundings, is an art. You have to train your mind to be alert enough to pick the cues. That is possible only when a person expands his knowledge. So that expansion of knowledge is possible with extensive reading. If you don't read, if you don't watch documentaries, if you don't read books, don't keep yourself abreast of the things happening, various facets of knowledge, you would definitely not be able to develop the sense to pick the cues in your surroundings. So after understanding why would one person not hear the music, it is time for us to understand the second problem associated with human beings. Why would one see the other person dancing as insane? Why would you see so? The first and foremost thing is superiority complex. An individual thinks he is right. Whatever he thinks is right, whatever he does is right, he is the best in the world. This superiority complex makes a person develop a condescending attitude towards others. So thus, whatever everyone else is doing, he is considered to be insane, if I may say so. The best example is Chatur Ramalingam in the movie Three Idiots. So he thought memorization and getting good marks is the only way. He considered himself to be superior and used to look down upon everyone in the class. Correct? So that's why he could not appreciate the efforts of Rancho. He could not appreciate the talent of others in his class. Correct? So that superiority complex is the first thing which prods a person to consider the act of other person to be insane. Next, narrow worldview. See, narrow worldview matlab you are not able to take a holistic, comprehensive view of the things. So that holistic, comprehensive view of the thing is extremely, extremely important. The best example is Dashrath Manji, Mountain Man of India. So Dashrath Manji single-handedly decided to carve a road out of the mountain. When everybody laughed at him, that how could he create a road in that ridges just by using chisel and hammer, he did not care. Everybody thought he was insane. Correct? But with his all hard work, with single man's labor, that an axis was given, the mountain was carved. Correct? So why everybody thought this man cannot do? Because of that narrow view. What is that narrow view? That how much can he do? He can only take a few feet. He carve only few feet. That is the narrow view. But what is the holistic view? Holistic view is a person who would think that if the same thing is done, like small droplets of water make an ocean, so if the same person keeps on doing small things, incremental work consistently for a longer period of time, he would be able to create miracles. So that is a holistic view. That is a broad view. So this narrow view would prevent you from judging, from evaluating even sane actions as insane actions. Then self-bias. So self-bias is the same thing. It is similar to superiority complex, but in superiority complex you consider yourself to be great and mock at other persons, but in self-bias you don't consider yourself to be great, yet you don't agree with the way the other person is behaving. Let us say there is one civil servant believes only in making more and more writing practice for exam. So he is just attending tests and making writing practice. But the other civil servant, other civil service aspirant may believe that it is not writing, it is accumulation of knowledge that matters. So he diligently, very seriously reads more, learns more, etc. So he doesn't feel himself to be superior, but yet he would not appreciate the writing practice being done by the other aspirant. So that is the difference. Then conventional mindset. See, conventional mindset in the sense, whenever our mind is always plagued with some prejudiced notions about a particular thing. So whenever you see a thing, you are taught from your childhood that particular thing is used for a particular purpose. So even suddenly someone else comes forward and tries to put the same thing for a different purpose, you would not accept it because of that conventional mindset. A few decades ago, when some persons in rural India are trying to encourage their girls to pursue higher education, everybody used to mock at them, used to call them insane because of conventional mindset. Okay, so nobody realized the importance of girl education, but now it is improved. Then the last thing is being unintelligent. There may be a scenario where one person is smart enough to pick a cue and the other person may not be endowed with the requisite intelligence to even understand and comprehend it. Best example is Galileo Galilei. Galileo was smart enough, understood that sun was the center of solar system. He propounded heliocentric theory. But everyone else, they were not intelligent enough to understand him. So they called him insane. So then once we have understood that the real problem is perceptual error and not having enough empathy, then let us try to address those problems. The first thing is how to spot the not so obvious. That means how to pick cues. So the first thing is keen observation. There is difference between seeing and observing. Seeing with attention is observing. So a person, instead of seeing things, should observe things with a lot of care and caution. So the first and foremost thing is keen observation. So if you observe thoroughly, then you will try to understand multiple things. Okay. Then continuous conversation. Try to strike continuous conversation with people around you. Everyone gives you one perspective. So over a period of time, all those perspectives put together would create that much sense and alertness in you that you would be able to pick cues quickly. Then reading, as I already said, there is no substitute to reading to expand your worldview, to expand your understanding of the world. Then no first impressions, please. That means whatever impression you get during the first encounter should not be taken to be the final conclusion. You have to keep those first impressions aside and try to dig deeper. Then after finding out how to spot the not so obvious music around us, then the next obvious thing is how to understand others' actions, how not to dismiss others' actions as insane. Correct? The first thing is sense of respecting also. First anyone for that matter. So we should learn to respect everyone. Once you get that sense to respect everyone, you would not unnecessarily dismiss the other person's act or thought to be insane. Second thing is talk before conclude. So before you come to the conclusion that he is insane, he is just dancing, so you just speak to him, why is he dancing? Why is she dancing? Then at least they would tell you, then you would realize, arey, you are correct. He found out something which I could not do it. Then being humble. So finally, not having superiority complex would definitely help you pick the cues properly and also to respect everyone. So then after this elaborate discussion, it is time for conclusion, friends. From the above discussion, we can safely conclude that so there is enough cues available in the surroundings for us. One should be alert enough to identify the cue. That cue can be an opportunity or can be a danger. So if a person is alert to that cue, that person can either start acting to realize that opportunity or to evade the impending danger. So rather than just dismissing a person's particular action as insane just because you are not able to identify the reason or cause for that action, try to understand that understand the reason behind that action with deliberate efforts, and finally try to replicate that person's action if that is going to support you and that is going to help you. Okay friends, let us meet next week with another essay. Thank you.